Okay, now we're going to work on Rashi. You turn to page 16, and on the top of the page, we're going to go over 14 words that are going to be helpful to you for these Rashis. So first we start with the word number 1. Ho'il means since. Nikar means visible. Havu is there are. Lehu, them. Ta'am, reason. We know this from Mishna Gemara Brura. The tet starts for ta'am. Dash means to step upon or to trample. Kesher is a knot. K-N-O-T, kesher. Number 8, nishchat is destroyed. Number 9, shaveh is equal or worth. Number 10, kamot shehen, the way they are. 11, sha'ar means the rest. 12, leafuke means to exclude, meaning to leave something out. 13, kedektani. The shorish of kedektani is tana, which means teach. Kedektani means like it teaches. 14, seifa means the end, usually referring to the end of a Mishnah. Okay, those are the words. Now we're going to begin to work on the Rashi. The first Rashi that we're going to study is Rashi's comment on the words ma'od mefuzarot. So these words are the dibur mathil, meaning this is the title, this is the words of the Mishnah that Rashi is going to explain, similar to in Chumash, where Rashi quotes words of the Pasuk and then he explains them. Rashi explains those words that he thinks they need an explanation, something is not clear. So the Mishnah told us that if you find scattered money, you can keep them. So Rashi explains, O'il ve'ein lahem siman nikar, says Rashi, since they don't have a visible sign, a siman, yushe meyaish, the owner gives up, he gives up hope. Meaning, since the owner has no way to prove that that's his money, because the money is scattered, there's no siman on them, so he loses hope, he doesn't think he's going to get it back, so therefore he doesn't look for them, he doesn't claim them. So what's missing here is there's no claimer. Ve'havelehu hefker, and therefore they become ownerless. Meaning they don't have an owner anymore, because a person that owns something has the ability to disown something, to make it not his. For example, if I take something and I throw it away, it is no longer mine. Now in this case, he's not throwing it away, but what happened is he dropped some money or he left some money scattered somewhere. When he realizes that he left the money and there's no siman on them, he gives up hope. So at that point, when he gives up hope, the money becomes ownerless, and therefore what happens is that the finder is going to be able to keep it. Vezeu ta'am kulam. Now Rashi tells us something very important. Vezeu ta'am kulam. This is the reason for all of them. All of them meaning all the examples of the Mishnah that are listed as things that you're allowed to keep. The reason you can keep them, says Rashi, is because none of them have a siman. They're all regular common items. They're not different in any way from others that are similar to them. So therefore, the owner has no way to prove that that particular item, those fruits or that coin or that piece of purple fabric or those fish are his. There's no siman. Once there is no siman, what happens is the owner gives up hope. And once the owner gives up hope, there's no claimer. If there's no claimer, we know that you don't have to announce that lost item. So this is the Rashi. Rashi explained to us why you scatter money you can keep. And he told us that that reason that applies to scatter money really applies to every example mentioned in the Mishnah that you can keep. Number 2, the Mishnah mentioned that you find bundles bereshuta rabim, in a public place. Again, a public place is like a street. Says Rashi, she'akol dashim alayu, because everybody steps on them, meaning there's a lot of traffic there, there's a lot of people walking through, there's animals, there's cars, there's wagons. So if there's a bundle there, it's going to get trampled. And if there was a sign tied on this bundle, for example, let's say somebody put a tag or they put their name on this bundle. For example, that this was grown in such and such farm, which would be a siman. Yeah, but the problem is, arehu nishchat, it was destroyed because so many people trampled there. So many people walk in the public place that even if there was a siman, the siman is destroyed. So again, what happens is the owner realizes, hey, this fell out of my truck in the street and it got trampled by cars, by trucks, by people, and therefore the siman is destroyed. If the siman is destroyed, he realizes, I'm not going to be able to prove that it's mine. He loses hope, and therefore the finder can keep it. Number 3, the Mishnah mentioned that if you find bread of a baker, so the Mishnah gave this as an example of something you can keep. Says Rashi, Kol kikarot anachtumim shavim. All bread that are made by bakers are equal. They're the same, meaning he mass produces them. They're all made in a mold, and he makes lots and lots of the same breads. And therefore, again, there's no siman. Aval kikarot shabalabait. But bread that is made by a balabait, that is a private home owner, meaning they're made at home, yesh bahem siman. Homemade bread, there has a siman, because everybody makes bread at different recipe, a different size, a different shape, different ingredients. So homemade bread you would have to announce, like we're going to learn in the next Mishnah. The next Rashi, the Mishnah mentioned wool that was brought from its country. Says Rashi, that means kemot shehen gezuzot. They're still the same way as when it was sheared. Shear means when it's cut from the sheep. Keshar kol gizata medina. And when the sheep are shaved, when the wool is sheared, so it's the same for all of them. Meaning, the wool is still the same way like all other sheep from that country. So it's all clumps of wool. Leafuke abaot mebeita uman. This is excluding wool that comes from a craftsman. A craftsman refers to a place where the wool is processed. So again, in Rashi in number 4 is explaining the wool that is still the same way as it was brought in from its country, so that the Mishnah said you can keep it. The reason, says Rashi, is because it's still the same way as it was cut from the sheep, which is the same as all other sheep. Clumps of wool are all the same. But leafuke abaot mebeita uman. But this excludes wool that came from a craftsman, meaning the wool was already processed. Kedektani beseifa, like we're going to learn in the end, meaning in the next Mishnah is going to explain that wool that came from a craftsman where the wool was processed, that you have to announce because that clearly has a siman.